Hi everybody, it's Monday again. It's day 13 of the 20-day Tiffin food delivery journey with me, Brian. So my wife and I have embarked on this 20-day food delivery lunch experience with the Garden Kitchen. This is not a sponsored post, and I'm doing this just to also share with you about the food, how is it, and also a few financial tips at the end of this, towards after the end of this food review. So, well, it's coming to almost the close of this 20-day journey. I hope that you have enjoyed it so far. And so for today, Garden Kitchen delivered the food about 10:10 a.m. Yes, you heard that right. It's 10:10 a.m. I think partly also because they are not far from where I am, and also they prefer to also send it out earlier. Now, uh, they also did deliver the food on Friday when we told them inside the order that we'll deliver from we want the delivery from Monday to Thursday. So I don't think that they're charging us. I try to clarify with them. Because the delivery man for these past few days has just tried to notify me by knocking on the door, but sometimes I don't hear. So usually maybe about 10 days ago, the delivery man will knock on the door and wait for me to appear, and then uh, he will leave. But recently he's just been knocking on the door and leaving, so I didn't know on Friday that he actually came, and that by that time I had already ordered my lunch. So with the extra food, we gave it away to some of our neighbors who would like that for some other purposes, like maybe dinner, or they need to eat by then. Yeah. So today there's some potato, there is some like 五香 or fish cake roll, steamed egg with cai po, preserved vegetables, and Chinese cabbage. Today I just want to review the food. Today we have minced. Let's see. Today we have fish roll. Right. We have very tired looking vermicelli or rice noodles that you shouldn't microwave, but we have no choice but to microwave. We have steamed egg with pork and preserved vegetables. That is not bad. And also not very salty. We have pork with potatoes. That the pork is quite substantial and meaty, right? And then we have Chinese cabbage, which I have heard recently that in parts of Korea it's very much more expensive because I think there was some bad weather, so that has increased the prices for Chinese cabbage. Yeah, it's now about 12 Singapore dollars for 1 kilo of this. Well, this one I had it just now, so it's very just like fish cake consistency. Yeah. So for today, really because they delivered a much earlier time, I think the food is per normal what I expect. Less salt, less oil, slightly more healthy. Tastes like home cooked food. I think especially the steamed egg, the Chinese cabbage, and the pork with the potatoes. It's very close to that. Yeah, home cooked food. So yeah, if you like this review, you can also see whether you want to also order from the Garden Kitchen as well. Yeah, today I'll give it about well, quite close. I mean, I would say about 5 stars. 4.75 to 5 stars. I can't quite make up my mind because of the fish cake. but generally it's still pretty decent. Yeah. So today is part 2 of the 6 considerations you should take before buying a house. So the first 3 I've already shared in a previous video. The second one, which is today, I want to share with you right now. So the 3 are: consider renovation costs, consider protection for the mortgage, and the third one is consider a property agent, the pros and the cons, right? Okay. So for the first one about renovation costs, if you are able to find a property that you like with reasonably well maintained interior, you will be able to save quite a fair bit of money. Or you could buy a very poorly maintained piece of property that requires extensive renovation, but you would have to factor that into your calculations, as well as about taking the loan, right? So if you find a nice, well-maintained house and you can take a bigger loan, you will be able to afford that that payment, right, monthly, rather than extensive renovation, which requires a lot of cash upfront. Okay, so that's the first tip. The second tip is to consider buying protection for yourself or any other party that is buying the property. So what I mean here would be to protect your income generation capacity. You should consider perhaps a term insurance to cover death, disability, maybe even critical illnesses, so that should any of these occur, the money that will pay out will go to be able to pay for the property loan, and you will be also not worse off, right? So also this is contingent on whether or not how you are healthy, what's your medical condition, etc. Right? So the second tip will be to look at protection, right? The third one is to consider getting a property agent to represent you. So here I want to break down if you are a buyer of a private property and if you're a buyer of HDB. So if you're a buyer of a private property, and you, for example, these days many of us will look through different websites like 99.co or Property Guru or etc., right? SRX, all these. Do let the seller agent, that means the agent that you contacted when you view the property online, for example, know that you have or are likely to have a buying agent to transact on your behalf. Now, when you do buy a property, you can choose to buy it by yourself or have an agent represent you. If you're buying a private property, you, the buyer, do not need to pay a fee. Rather, the seller will be the one paying the fee. So, by letting the seller agent know that you have a buying agent to assist you, that will give him some heads up to know that, he will need to negotiate with this agent as well. Now, why is it advantageous to have a buying agent when you're buying a private property? The first of all is about the paperwork, right? The one who has to bear the brunt of the burden would be the buying agent or the agent, right? Rather than yourself, the buyer of a home, of a unit, where most of the time we will not be able to know so much the intricacies of all these transactions, etc. It can be a hassle. The second one is having a buying agent helps you to negotiate, perhaps, if you have a good agent, for a better price. So that's about having an agent transact for you for the private property. Now, the other one is the HDB, where if you have a buying agent, you have to pay a fee, right? But the benefit to that is if you have a good agent, he can negotiate for you as well. Now, if you choose to buy the property, the HDB, right, under as an individual, like for myself, when I bought my HDB as an individual, there are slightly less issues in my opinion, because HDB has a template for these contracts of buying and selling of HDBs. So in that sense, these contracts are all congruent from my understanding. Therefore, if you wish to negotiate and you think you're a better negotiator, perhaps you can choose this method. Now, of course, this means to say that you, the buyer of a HDB by yourself, would be at how do I put this? You have to take more responsibility for each of these steps of the way, and you also may not be able to save as much money should you have a good negotiator or good housing agent that can negotiate a lower price for you on your behalf. Yeah. So these are my 3 tips. So my 3 tips are: look at the renovations, see whether you can choose a well-maintained property to save on renovation costs. Second is to consider to have some protection for the mortgage loan. And the third is consider whether or not you need a property agent to help you on this transaction if you're buying private or if you're buying HDB. Now, thanks for staying tuned, and also thanks for following me so far. I hope that you like this session so far, and if you do leave a comment below, as well as you have any ideas, do let me know as well. Thank you, and this is day 13 of 20.